Welcome back to Green and Gold Gaming. We are going into more background material for Crusade for Myth Drannor. I am Renegade Paladin, the narrator.
Hey, Bosheck here, GM.
And I am also the player of Túrendil Althonen, the party's warpriest. So, Túrendil is an elf, as befits the Crusade for Myth Drannor. As I recently discovered, Ed Greenwood pronounces it Myth Drannor, but we're going to keep with what we've been doing because we've already established the style.
If you go and watch Ed's Realm Speak videos, he's very flexible on that, and he tends to indicate that there's a lot of dialects in Faerun. And as far as I'm concerned, for our dialect,
it's Drannor, yes. That's what we've been doing. That's what we're going to keep doing. So, Túrendil is a warpriest. He's an elf, warpriest of the Seldarine. And I went with a relatively balanced stat array. The reason his constitution is so high is because in our first adventure he picked up an item that boosts his constitution.
Sure, those are hard to come by as we're using the alternate bonus progression rules. And I wanted that item, which is an intelligent item that doesn't talk too much, it's mostly asleep, to kind of feel special. And the fact that it gave a stat boost where literally nothing else does really set it apart.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting to find that when I built the character. So that's why Constitution was his highest stat for the longest time. But, so other than that, it's a fairly balanced. I had to cut somewhere, and Warpriest cuts Charisma. But, be that as it may, in combat he mostly relies on Nephilium, the mithril longsword we found in the Castle of Corellon.
Yeah, like a bandit from that first adventure.
Yeah, I did, but not since. You know, the wealth has been spread around, but yeah, he's a shield fighter and mostly a high AC tank. You notice? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I said that's correct. I was gonna say, you're an experienced player, and you knew that we'd be running a lot of these out of pre-written adventures. And one thing I can say for someone going into pre-written adventures, if you're planning on playing a lot of them in like a West Marches style game, which we almost are, but not quite, common weapon proficiencies and focuses on them are going to be more beneficial to your character. You're going to find a lot of long swords. You're going to find a lot of quarterstaffs. You're not going to find a lot of like flails and spike chains, what have you.
Yeah, and so I built him mostly as a shield fighter tank, and and you see it has weapon focus heavy blades on it, which is why I also use chakrams. That's part of our house rules, and our house rule video will go live when we reach 50 subscribers. So
Yay!
We're at 43 as I record this. So AC armor class starts at 26 and goes through the ceiling with cleric buffs.
That's true. This is a snapshot of Túrendil at level 5, so he's had a chance to improve his AC from what it used to be, which he didn't pick up that full plate until after the first adventure.
And so we were well in the third level by the time I picked up full plate. In the videos in the first season, his base AC was I think 22.
That rings true for me. But you are an AC tank, and that's the role that your character primarily fills when in combat. Stopgap wall in front of the squishier, heavier damage-dealing characters, and a little bit of battlefield control just by means of threatening AOs and being a physical body in the way.
Yeah, so in the inventory, we see Túrendil does not have quite the golf bag that Mossel carries. Got a mace for bludgeoning damage from when we run into skeletons and such. And other than that, scrolling down to consumables, I carry a lot of scrolls because the Warpriest's prepared spells, most are very limited and mostly need to be on self buffs because of the way the class works. So I keep all of my utility in scrolls.
A lot of utility. I will say that as these characters have adventured, they've accumulated a lot of wealth because we are going through a ton of adventures per level, and I like to give out expendable items. Especially because they seem to hold their value a little better as you're leveling slowly, and give the party options on things to do for whenever they're the main thing they want to spread around, their bread and butter, isn't necessarily what happens in the situation. So it's good to give out expendable items. And the nice thing about giving out expendables as a dungeon master is that if it's a problem item, it's going to be gone.
Yeah, that is most certainly true. As we covered with Mossel's staff scratch that wand of fire last week.
Yep. I think that item's been fine. He knows it's a limited use item, just like a couple of things you have. I think Túrendil, some of the most powerful and expensive things Túrendil has are a ring of thorns that he'll be picking up in Season 2. One of the instruments of the bards, a harp of Myth Drannor, over in the equipment section. Those are fun. Those excite me. I really love the lore around those.
Yeah, so Methold's harp isn't crazy. It opens doors and unties things.
Sure. Sorry, it's a rogue in a box. And maybe the Gem of Brightness, but I don't want to get too much into it, but I always feel like sometimes magic items aren't priced appropriately, and they're way too expensive for what they do.
That is, especially for a lot of the slotless Wonders items. Anyway, going on to features, his blessings are good in protection. He's a cleric of Corellon Larethian, the Protector, after all. Could have gone with different choices, but in keeping with his role as the frontline tank, I decided to go for a Protector character, and I play him like it too. It's not just a mechanical choice. So weapon focus, heavy blades, we already covered. And this looks like too many feats because it is, but again, see our house rules.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It all makes sense once you understand the mechanics behind it, and I'll be happy to really delve into that later. I love crunchy stuff.
Yeah, so, and for his campaign trait, I went for Mythal Scholar, as alluded to in his character introduction. So he has like rerolls regarding the Mythal's wild magic effect and
correct.
Yeah.
You get a free spell into your spellbook.
And yeah,
or spells now.
Yeah, free spell. Speaking of spells, well, we'll go through skills first. So for skills, I put ranks in climb, which actually surprised Bo a couple of sessions ago when he assumed I couldn't climb a cliff.
Sure, you're that heavy armor. Even with 5 ranks, you're...
Yeah, I know. Well, when I'm fighting things, I'm typically bull strength up, so it goes up more. But yeah, so 1 rank in heal just to be able to roll the checks. Same with sense motive, and 3 ranks in survival because I didn't go into like his family and such in the intro video because frankly I was trying to keep the time down so the music track wouldn't run out. But his father is a ranger, so hence ranks in survival and background ranks in handle animal.
Oh, that's where that comes from. I had always wondered about that, and you took that from your father, and that makes total sense, because I am familiar with Túrendil's background.
Yes, that is the idea.
Good deal. And Túrendil picked up a rank in Perform Harp for free from a future adventure.
Yeah, that's one of the boons back here on the features tab. But we'll cover that. We'll get to that when we get to that adventure. So spells.
Being a divine caster, you have access to your entire spell list as far as preparation goes in any given day.
Yeah, so you see a lot of spells on here that have zeros next to the prepared slot because those are things I do not prepare every day. But his go-to is a couple copies of Divine Favor, Bless, Protection from Evil, Shield of Faith, Bull Strength, Aid, and Spiritual Weapon. And as you know, befits a warpriest, most of those are self-buffs that key off of Fervor. And if you're familiar with the Pathfinder First Edition system, you probably know what a warpriest does. Fervor, I can spend points of Fervor to cast spells on myself only as swift actions.
Yes, you'll see Influence Wild Magic there as a 2nd level spell that was gained as a bonus from your trait, and then there's some other solid core spells there. I've always kind of been of the philosophy that a lot of the best spells are still in the player's handbook.
They really are as you get into the splats. That things get more and more specialized and therefore situational.
That's correct. Not to say there isn't some powerful stuff, but hard to beat the classics.
Yeah, so that's basically Túrendil. Over here on the buffs tab, you can see he's got a ton.
Yeah, that speaks to the character's playstyle. He's constantly toggling buffs on and off as combats go through the day. And there's the occasional... There are a couple of negative buffs on here, courtesy of your friendly dungeon master.
Yeah, the negative prayer there. Túrendil's not casting prayer yet, but some of our enemies do.
That is correct.
And not that I've yet to activate it, but I have divine power on there just for future use because it will come in.
You always buy a scroll and get it ahead of time.
That's true.
You want to really... Is that the one that makes you big? Or that's Righteous Might,
No,
right?
that's Righteous Might. That's divine power is really big divine favor.
That's right. That's right. It used to change your BAB, did it not? In 3.5?
It did, but now its bonuses scale to basically equate to changing your BAB without changing your BAB.
Okay. That's correct. Those things. We come from a very old edition of Dungeons & Dragons, and sometimes the wires get crossed because Pathfinder and 3.5 have so much of the same DNA.
Yeah, I started in 3.0 D&D. I think you started at the end of 2nd, didn't you?
Yeah, I started in 2nd edition. We had the red box. We played for a good 2 years before we moved over to 3rd edition.
Yeah.
And then 3rd edition was fairly short-lived.
Yeah, for reason.
Yeah. 3.5 is very good. I hope that we maybe have some 3.5 people who are enjoying our adventures with us.
Yeah, so apart from that, because his biography was so short, I'll just go over to his biography tab here. So, we did not plan this. He and Túrendil and Vilnace were born in the same year, almost within a month of each other.
That is something that the dice did. Although it was a really easy way for you to associate your characters, which is something the Dungeon Master asked you to do as a party whenever you were starting to make your characters.
Yeah, so as we referenced, his father is a ranger and his mother is a cleric of Cianine Moonbow. And as a family, they do not approve of the retreat to We're going to get into Realms lore a little bit here. They do not approve of the retreat. The Althonens stayed in Cormanthor.
Sure. A lot of elves after the fall of Myth Drannor, and recently even still, kind of left. They went to Evermeet, which is the Elven Isles that are kind of almost across the sea. It's sort of an elven paradise that's secluded from everything else. And many of them left, some of them stayed. Others went other places like Silvery Moon or Waterdeep or scattered across the realms.
So his long-term goal is to reclaim the City of Song, as is his parents. His parents don't come in very much because obviously we don't lean on higher level NPCs in our adventures.
Sure,
yeah.
You might have a guest here and there, and I may yet get a chance to use them. I love to do things like that as a DM, and it's still in the back of my head, but it just hasn't come up as an opportunity.
Yeah, and the bit on there about his younger brother is just a backup character in case anything happens in Túrendil. But anyway, so that's
maybe we'll be doing a video on him someday.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Túrendil's a tough nut to crack. Anyway, so that has been Túrendil Althonen, one of the characters from Crusade for Myth Drannor here on Green and Gold Gaming. If you enjoy our content, please like, share, and subscribe. And this is Renegade Paladin and Bosheck signing off.
Have a good one.